Okay, my dear Dharma friend, time to study the Sutra of Perfect Enlightenment. So, page 144. Today we study the Maitreya Bodhisattva. So, Maitreya Bodhisattva is the fifth Bodhisattva that asked the question to Buddha. It's chapter 5. So, please turn to page 144, Maitreya Bodhisattva. So, Maitreya means benevolent or compassionate. According to Buddhist tradition, he is the Bodhisattva who will appear in this world to become the next Buddha after around 5 trillion years. So it's a long time. When he ends his life in the Tusita Heaven, he is said to preside over the spread of sangha and protect its member. Maitreya in Chinese we say 弥勒, Maitreya Bodhisattva, 弥勒菩萨. Okay, so let's go to page 145. So I read the Chinese first. 于是弥勒菩萨在大众中即从坐起，顶礼佛足，右绕三匝，长跪插手而白佛言：大悲世尊，广为菩萨开秘密藏，令诸大众生悟轮回，分别邪正，能使末世一切众生无畏道眼于大涅盘生决定性，无复重随轮转境界，起循环见。So in English, the Bodhisattva Maitreya arose from his seat in a great assembly and bowed his head to the Buddha's feet. He circumambulated him 3 times to the right and then knelt down with his hands clasped. He addressed the Buddha saying, Greatly compassionate, world-honored one, you have opened wide the secret treasure for the Bodhisattva and have made all in the great assembly deeply awaken to the marks of transmigration and distinguish between the correct and the mistaken. You have been able to impart the fearless eye of the way and unshakable faith in Great Nirvana to the sentient beings of the degenerate age. They will not again chase after cynic existence or give rise to cynic views. Very beautiful. So a little bit explanation here. The Bodhisattva Maitreya arose from the seat in the great assembly and bowed his head to the Buddha's feet. If you bow your head to another one's feet, it shows the great respect. And Maitreya Bodhisattva did so to show his great respect for Buddha. He also circumambulated him 3 times to the right and then knelt down with his hands clasped. He addressed the Buddha saying, Greatly compassionate, world-honored one, you have opened wide the secret treasure for the Bodhisattvas and have made all the great assembly deeply awaken to the marks of transmigration and distinguish between the correct and the mistaken. 邪正. So what is the correct and what is mistaken? Actually, if you enter the realm of awareness, it's correct. So the opposite is you enter the realm of the phenomenal world. That's the difference between correct and mistaken. For all the awakened being, they can enter the realm of awareness, or we call it 法界, the realm of Dharma. So you don't perceive yourself as individual body and mind. You go deeper to the field of consciousness or field of awareness. You perceive all your body and mind, including what you see, what you hear, what you taste, what you smell, what you touch, and what you think. You enter the realm of awareness. The six inputs from the six sensory organs are the objects you can perceive, including your concepts, feelings, emotions, your thoughts, your memories, your planning, everything you can perceive now. That means you enter the realm of awareness. So that's a correct. If you cannot, is incorrect or mistaken. So let's go on. You have been able to impart the fearless eye of the way and unshakable faith in the great nirvana to the sentient beings of a degenerate age. What is this great nirvana? 大涅槃. So for all the people who in the suffering, they always try to seek nirvana, which is the antidote of suffering, which it means you can be free of the suffering. But the great nirvana is beyond the duality of suffering and non-suffering, or the suffering and nirvana. Great nirvana means that you can see through the suffering, and you can see that suffering are all due to our incorrect or mistaken view, the wrong identification that we are this limited body and mind. Because of this wrong identification that we are this limited body and mind, we are a person, we are individual person. That's the region of suffering. Because no matter how healthy, wealthy, successful in the world, one day you're gonna lose it. Because it's in a time. Everything we can do in the world are in a zone of time. It will begin, it will end. Everything, the nature of phenomenal world is impermanent. It will begin maybe begin already. It begins and it ends. So it's the suffering. If we identify ourselves with the limited body and mind, which begins and ends, we suffer. So that's why all the world people try to seek, or a lot of practitioners seek for nirvana. They try to go to the opposite of suffering. It's a good intention, but only once you awakened, then you see there's no suffering. All the suffering is our illusion, is illusory, is unreal. Then the attempt to seek the end of suffering also ceases too. That's called Great Nirvana. Great Nirvana is not somewhere else, it's not sometime else. It's right here and now. That's called Great Nirvana. Okay, let's go on. We're still on page 146. So Buddha has been able to impart the fearless eye, the eyes of wisdom. You can call that too. The fearless eye of the way. What's the way? What's the Tao? It's so hard to say. The Tao, which is unlimited, unconditioned, beyond space-time, eternal, infinite big, infinite small, that manifested in the phenomenal world, which is the opposite of the attributes of Tao I have mentioned, say conditioned, limited, bound, individual, localized, finite. So all the opposite of the Tao has to be manifested in a special way, localized way. So if you see that Tao, the ultimate has two sides, yin and yang, let's say. When you have this eye, then you have the fearless eye of the way and unshakable faith in Great Nirvana. And we will not again chase after cyclic existence or give rise to cyclic views. You see, everything in the phenomenal world spins. Spinning is a region of the cyclic existence. The earth spins, so we have day and night. The earth spins around the sun, so we have 4 seasons. The electron spins around the nucleon. That's why we have positive and negative. You see, all the phenomenal world spins. That is a region of the cyclic existence. But there is something beyond this cyclic existence, and that's the essence of who we are or what we are. Once you have this view, the right view, the first step of the Eightfold Noble Path, then you can enter the Great Nirvana, which is here and now. And you have the fearless eye of the way, which is here and now. So let's go on. We're on page 146. You can read a little bit by yourself. You see, at the beginning of page 146, the eye of the way is an eye that is obstructed neither by emptiness nor existence, that cancels and illuminates simultaneously and penetrates to perceive the middle path. The middle path is like, if we say the ultimate has two sides. One side of ultimate is never changing, is eternal, infinite, unconditioned, originally pure, open, luminous. But on the other side, the ultimate has, which is manifested as a phenomenal world, is finite, limited, conditioned, localized, fragmented, individualized, limited, conditioned. So it's like a coin of two sides. So you don't neither obstructed by the emptiness or nor the existence. That's the eye of the way. You're not obstructed by the emptiness, the voidness, or no existence. That's a great, perfect enlightenment, or great nirvana. Perfect enlightenment is a term that is used to point directly to the essence of enlightenment, while nirvana is a term that is used to point directly to the awareness of no arising and ceasing beyond essence. Wow, no arising and ceasing. It's really hard to understand. So if I give you an analogy or metaphor here, so our pure consciousness is like a four-dimensional mirror. The essence of the mirror is to reflect, right? So the essence of a conscious mind is to be aware. The reflection of in the mirror itself has no true existence, meaning it comes and goes. It's dependent on consciousness or awareness to arise and to cease. But the awareness itself is empty, is unconditioned, is pure, is unlimited, is free from any reflections in the mirror itself. While the reflection itself is rising and ceasing, so that's why nirvana is a term that is used to point directly to the awareness of no arising and ceasing. It seems as a lot of reflections in the mirror arise and cease, but fundamentally, all the reflections that happens in the mirror has no true self to arise and to cease. That's why we call it no arising and no ceasing either. The great paradox of the existence. Once you have this view, you have the eye of the way. You reach the great nirvana, a great perfect enlightenment. Okay, so we're page 146. Maitreya's questions on the severance of the root of transmigration. If you want to be free from the samsara, that's a very important question here. Maitreya's questions on the severance of the root of transmigration, meaning Maitreya's question is about how to cut the root of birth and death, samsara. Okay, in Chinese, 世尊，若诸菩萨及末世众生欲由如来大寂灭海，云何当断轮回根本？于诸轮回有几种性？修佛菩萨几等差别？回入尘劳当设几种教化，方便度诸众生？唯愿不舍救世大悲，令诸修行一切菩萨及末世众生慧目肃清，照耀心净，圆正如来无上之见，作是于已，五体投地，如是三请，终而复始。Very beautiful. So in English, world-honored one, if the bodhisattvas and sentient beings of the degenerate age aspire to float on the Tathagata's great tranquil ocean, how should they sever the root of cyclic existence? in the various kinds of cyclic existence, how many types of beings are there? How many differences are there in types of practice of Buddha's body? Bodhi, body. When we re-enter the dirty and difficult world, what kinds of teaching devices should we as Bodhisattva here, should Bodhisattva establish to save all sentient beings? I implore you, I beg you not to relax in your world-saving great compassion, that you clarify the wisdom eye of all practicing bodhisattvas and sentient beings of the degenerate age. Illuminate their mind mirror and completely awaken them to the Tathagata's unsurpassed insight. After saying this, he prostrated fully to the ground. He asked this question 3 times in succession. Okay, let's go back to this question. Maitreya's questions on the severance of the root of transmigration, or he asked a question, how to cut the root of cyclic existence, meaning birth and death. World Owner One, if the Bodhisattvas and sentient beings of the degenerate age. So the sentient beings and Bodhisattvas of the degenerate age, if we look into the Chinese 末世众生，诸世尊若诸菩萨及末世众生 so sentient beings of the degenerate age, that's our age. Why we call this degenerate age? I personally have experienced that even though our science are so modern and developed, we have internet, we have computer, we have, we can have access to all kinds of information in the world. It seems to, of course, technology and science give us the convenience and comfort. We can go from Vancouver to New York in a couple of hours, which cannot accomplished 100 years ago, right? We have more access to lots of books, sutras, of spiritual teachings. Definitely we have convenience and comfort that brought by technology and science. But the science and technology is a double-bladed knife. A knife can cut fruits, but also cut our fingers. This very technology and science actually give a lot of people access to bad things. The pollution from internet, you name it. I don't want to say the details. The computer games, the gambling, the pornographic website, you name it. All the negativity of the news. So for many people, they don't have this resistance to the negativities, to the dark side of internet. So that's why Buddha said the degenerate age, the double-bladed, technology and science. That's why even the second Buddha, Padmasambhava, the second Buddha, Padmasambhava said, once there's a iron bird that can fly in the sky, that's a degenerate age comes. An iron bird that means a plane. When an iron bird appears in the sky, then that's the beginning of the degenerate age. You see? But what I'm going to say here, 末世众生 actually is not, there's a deeper meaning of 末世众生. If you are the person who are listening now, or who are interested in awakening, then you will become the last generation of a worldly person, meaning you will soon be awakened or already awakened. You are awakened one. You are the last generation of the worldly person. You surpass the ocean of samsara. That's another meaning of degenerate age or 末世众生. Actually, the translation here has a little bit mistaken. But anyway, 末世众生, the sentient beings of the degenerate age, is one translation. It's okay, but the 末世众生 has another deeper meaning. 末世众生 means if you are listening to this sutra, you will be the last generation of unawakened being, meaning you will awaken soon. 末世众生. Okay. Let's go on. World honor one. If the bodhisattvas and sentient beings of the degenerate age or the last generation of the world person aspire to float on the Tathagata's great tranquil ocean. I like this term very much. Tathagata's great tranquil ocean. Actually, it's right here now. 如来大寂灭海, the ocean of Great Nirvana. It matches now the modern scientific term, a universal unified field, from which all the matter, energy, and information arise, and to which all the matter, information, and energy cease to. The universal unified field is a region of any matter, any information, and any energy. That's, in Buddhism, we call it Tathagata's great tranquil ocean. So, world honored one, if we all aspire to float or to surf on the Tathagata's great tranquil ocean, how should they sever the root of cyclic existence? In the various kinds of cyclic existence, how many types of beings are there? How many differences are there in types of practice of Buddha's body? When we re-enter, when we is here is the person, the Bodhisattva. Which Bodhisattva here is now? Maitreya Bodhisattva asked this question. So we here means Bodhisattvas. So how could, how many differences are there in types of practice of the bodies, Buddha's body, Bodhi, wisdom, let's say. When the Bodhisattvas re-enter the dirty and difficult world, what kinds of teachings, devices should we establish to save all sentient beings? Why Bodhisattvas try to re-enter this phenomenal world? Why? Because in Mahayana Buddhism, we say Bodhisattva has that compassion and wisdom to save the sentient beings, to save worldly person like me, like you, like everybody who try to, be free from samsara. That's why I'm sharing my experience. Maybe you are listening here too. So why? That's why Bodhisattvas re-enter the dirty and difficult world. They're trying to save us. What kind of teachings, devices should Bodhisattvas establish to save all sentient beings? Very good question, right? That's the compassion and the love of Bodhisattvas. They try to learn some technique or convenient approaches from the Buddha for their future use when they re-enter the phenomena world. So Maitreya Bodhisattva implore Buddha not to relax in his world-saving great compassion, that you clarify the wisdom eye for all practicing Bodhisattvas. So we are page 147. Bodhisattvas and sentient beings of the degenerate age. And again, degenerate age has two meanings. One meaning the last age, the last generation of the unawakened or unenlightened being. Illuminates their mind mirror and completely awaken them to Tathagata's unsurpassed insight. After saying this, Maitreya Bodhisattva prostrated fully to the ground. You see, prostration, if you know prostration, if you're familiar with Tibetan Buddhism or Vajrayana Buddhism, they prostrate a lot to their master, to the teacher, or to the Buddha or Bodhisattvas. Prostration means your head, your hands, your knee, your feet, your belly are all on the ground. Your whole body on the ground. Show your respect to the master or the Buddhas, and do this prostration for thousands, even millions of times in your whole life. So in Nyingma school of Tibetan, in the Nyingma school of Vajrayana Buddhism, there's a minimum requirement for prostrations. 30,000 prostrations. There's a minimum. So you can go up to 300,000 prostrations in 3 years. That's a kind of practice to show your respect, your love, your faith to the God or to the Buddha, to the Master. So after saying this, Maitreya Bodhisattva prostrated fully to the ground. He asked this question 3 times in session. Okay, that maybe we can end here. And we finished today at page 107.